This is your Daily 5 for Tuesday, June 16th, 2026. I know I talked about this novella on at least one or two of the shows a while back, but I don't think I ever actually did a full review of having finished it. So this is a novella that is from what I can find, because there's multiple versions of this story, but the original novella was published in 1950. It's by an author named Fritz Leiber, and the title of it is You're All Alone. This was apparently originally a longer manuscript. It was cut down into novella, and then it was expanded into a longer version, but most people believe and have said that the novella is the best version of the story. So that's the one that I read. I came across this because there's an individual who runs a channel titled Liminal Spaces, I believe. I'll link to it in the show notes. I'll get the correct link and you'll see it. And this individual goes around and buys old weird pulp fiction, old weird pulp books, meaning the actual physical books of weird fiction, science fiction, odd stories, that type of thing, and does some really good reviews and brings some titles and authors I've never heard of. So I would recommend going over and looking at that channel if you're in the market. The only problem is a lot of this stuff can be hard to find because it's out of print a lot of times. There's almost no good versions of them anywhere. There are scans in many cases, so you can read them that way. But much of this stuff is not available in digital. But I was able to find a fairly good scan of this book on, I don't remember where I found it. But in any event, I read it, and I really enjoyed this story because it reminded me a lot of Philip K. Dick's work, with one big difference. Often, and Lando has talked about this on the show, and I agree with him, when you read a PKD book, the only problem with his writing many times is that you end up at the end of a story and you feel not great. You can, ranging anywhere from uncomfortable to absolutely miserable, because one of the things about PKD's writing is it is often just saturated with paranoia and cynicism, because that's how he saw the world. And don't get me wrong, I don't disagree, but I don't go into my entertainment very often wanting to end up feeling more like I already feel about the world. I often go into entertainment to escape from things. And so while I love Philip K. Dick's work, I don't read it very often. I read it, I think, more often than Lando does, because it doesn't affect me quite as badly as it does him. But it's still not just light summer reading that I'll pick up when I'm in between books and I just want something to breeze through. That's not what you read PKD for. You read that for a hardcore paranoia point of view, expertly written with some wild ideas. But you have to know that when you get to the end, there's a better than average chance that you're not going to look at the world with a smile on your face for a little bit. Whereas, with at least this story, and I believe this is the only Fritz Leiber work I've ever read, but You're All Alone, while in many ways similar to Philip K. Dick in terms of the material, the tone, the character going through a world that seems unreal or that there's something wrong with, I will say, without giving any real spoilers, it will not leave you in that same place at the end. So that is probably the most remarkable difference, because otherwise I would say, hey, if you like Philip K. Dick, you're going to get basically the same kind of feeling off this, but you really won't, because I feel like the ending is fairly uplifting and hopeful, as opposed to a lot of PKD material. But the basic synopsis is an individual who works in an office, I believe it's an insurance office, if I remember correctly, is helping people out and starts to realize that it seems like there might be people around who nobody else can see. And I'm just going to say that much, because any more is going to delve into the actual material of the novella. But basically, it's about an individual who starts to question the reality of the world around himself. Again, should sound very similar to PKD stuff, but it does have its own identity. I don't want to say it's a copycat. I don't think there's anything like that going on there, but it does have a lot of strong parallels in terms of a character who's trying to figure out if what's going on is really in his mind, if it's really happening, are people playing a prank on him, that type of thing. And that's really all I'll say about it, because it's a novella. It's a relatively short. You'll blow right through it. And I would say, if it sounds at all, if you like Phil K. Dick's work, but you wish it didn't bum you out so much, I would read this story, because it's very good and it will not leave you in that really kind of sad place. So again, the story, the novella, the one I would recommend reading is You're All Alone by Fritz Leiber. Also, I will link to that YouTube channel. I recommend checking it out if you like weird fiction and those types of books. But if you've never heard of it, which I hadn't, take a chance on it. It's actually really good. Later.